Previously on Starfleet Underground.
Reminds me, Patrick, you have your appointment with the emergency medical psychiatrist. They need to talk about your Tourette syndromes. So
multiple.
As long as you get
Multiple Tourette syndromes.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's a very special individual.
As long as you see the EMH for your gas.
So no, I already told you about yours.
Well, you know,
There he goes. Okay, thanks everybody.
Was somebody just depressurize an airlock?
I think so.
Starfleet Underground. Every week, we'll take a look at the latest Star Trek news and then check out a current or classic episode of Star Trek. The Enterprise is attacked by alien looters. T'Pol gets abducted. Trip gets an offer he can refuse. Archer haggles over the price of the vault. And Porthos gets put into a box. Do the rules of acquisition tell you who gets the anal probe? And you won't believe what NASA allegedly said about aliens.
I swear, Heather, that was really good. I never knew you were good at that old Earth game. You got Patrick, just before you froze solid. That was amazing. The light's on. Okay, everybody, their stations. Good day and welcome to Starfleet Underground. My name is Nathan Adams and I'm here with the entire crew. Patrick was a little bit frosty, but he's back after we were able to catch him. And Heather apparently was really good at the old Earth game. Was it where they used the claw and was able to grab him and jack him back in? So there's that. So Patrick, welcome back on board after we eject you.
Hi, Patrick.
fuck you all. Fuck all of you.
And
He's a little icy.
yeah, he is.
Assholes.
And before we get started, I have an announcement.
Just wait till I fuck with the computers in your rooms.
Keep it up. We'll eject you again now that I got that button here.
I'm the computer guy. I can prevent you from doing that.
Ooh. We're going to have background wars. Everyone stay tuned. Before we get started on introductions, I have an announcement to make.
You're pregnant.
This is going to take no. And if you are, you'd never know who the dad is because you don't have eyes in the back of your head. Before we get started, I have an announcement to make about someone they're not aware is going to happen. So the reaction you hear will be real. I am pleased to announce that Heather has been promoted to Lieutenant Commander.
Oh, yay!
So congratulations, Lieutenant Commander.
Party in the mess hall.
Who did you sleep with, Heather?
Well, there was something called Oo-Mox involved.
Oh, we're going to have to talk about that on the show. Okay. So congratulations. And since that will bring me right on to introductions, this is Lieutenant Commander Ferris.
Woo, woo. Party in the house, yo. Meet me in the mess hall. I just have to say, I'm so glad we kept the claw. If we hadn't kept that claw, we would be missing Patrick right now. So.
Fuck you.
The transporters would have kicked in, but it had a little time delay on those. So
True.
It's a good thing he was a little bit excited. It gave you something to grab onto when you went to pull him in. So,
Well, it needed a big target, so of course.
Please. So it was pretty good. And you were like, oh, cool. It's circumcised. It's easier to hit. Okay. Next, we have, of course, our freshly defrosted computer guy. And don't worry, we would put you in the golem if she missed. It's our computer guy, Patrick.
Hi, I'm Patrick. I'm the computer guy. I'm number 1, and I'm also the foreign species liaison. And fuck you guys.
Come on, you know you love us. I told you I was going to get that button.
Like a herpes cold sore.
Oh, please. And the person that made it all happen, our engineer.
I'm only an accessory. I am not held responsible for the orders I have to follow from my captain.
So, thank you all for being here, and thank you for joining us.
Well, I didn't say hi. I'm Rocky. I'm the engineer of the show and the ship, and I just wanted to talk about
the fucker
Twitter.
Who blasted me out in space.
Not on purpose. On Twitter, there's this really big deal because apparently this is fake news. but there was a really realistic looking article with a picture of upset Commander Riker. The headline saying NASA warns alien life may not be fuckable. Now this was huge. Just lit our Twitter up like more than I've ever, like it has 806 views, likes on this now. So a lot of people liked this comment and was like, I mean, my comment on the whole thing was, oh, hell no. And a lot of our Twitter followers tend to agree.
It will be really awesome if Jonathan Frakes actually winds up liking it. So
that would be something.
That would be hysterical.
I tell you what, though, I mean, I love our little following on Twitter because they are just as fucking perverted as we are. It's amazing these things, the responses they all had. It's like, oh no, if you do this, if you do that, you can totally I'm gonna try it anyway. You can't tell me I can't fuck aliens. I'm going to fuck aliens.
Speaking of which, this podcast is not meant for kids. So if you do have any kids in the room, please escort them out before they're completely and totally damaged beyond repair.
Oh, or they want to fuck aliens.
Mom, what does fucking aliens mean?
Yeah, the last thing you want is little Johnny to be out in the backyard pouring water in the ground with a hole in it. So, I wouldn't feel like it is to get one of those rock creatures on the original series. Instead of no kill eye, it'd be no fuck eye.
Oh my God. I mean, you just hear the parents suddenly exclaim, those fucking aliens. I mean, yeah.
And Riker will pop up and go, where?
Exactly. I loved one of the theories somebody had. It was, if you take Spock, he's half human, half Vulcan, and you combine it with B'Elanna, who's half Klingon, half human. Well, technically, that's a full human. So that's a loophole, right? That works.
No.
Wouldn't that be like half, quarter, quarter?
I don't know how it works. It sounded like a good idea to me.
So half human, quarter Klingon, quarter Vulcan.
I'd say go ahead and try it because you just don't know.
Well, there's a thing that I was thinking of during my coffee time when Patrick was defrosting. We talk about how Klingons are supposed to have 2 reproductive organs, right?
Dicks.
So does that mean that Klingon women have 2 receptacles?
Vaginas.
That you're supposed to fit in at the same time?
Oh, I just figured it was one in the puss, one in the ass.
Well, that's maybe where the shocker came from because the Vulcans figured it out first.
There you go. They learned.
That's actually okay. Cool. Today's
Very
show.
deep thoughts.
Yes,
Emphasis
yes.
on deep, hard and deep thoughts.
That depends on how big the Klingon is, on whether it's deep or not.
Okay, and our show is being brought to you by readers like you for our Patreon. So thank you so much.
RS.
Yes, and also, of course, as always, before they try to figure a way to come into my room, Section 31. So thank you all for joining, and it's really good to have you here. You guys have become family, so thank you for that. And right now, I'm going to toss it over to, again, our defrosted computer guy. We got any corrections?
Yeah, actually, we do. Last week when we were talking, or you had said something about, we couldn't warp back in time. And I said, well, that's because, blue whales are hard to find. I meant humpback whales.
So, and
if you listen to the multi-track version of the show, because only I can do that because I'm editing the darn thing, I actually heard Stephanie was like, humpback.
Yeah.
And I tried to put it in there, but it barely came through. But she was like, humpback.
Yeah.
So in other words,
I meant humpback, but I couldn't think of it, so I said blue whale.
I mean, one whale is just as good as another, right? Apparently, no, there's different whales.
So in other words, our flawless record was ruined by the very guy who's supposed to be watching for corrections.
Airlock.
Well, you fucking blew me out the airlock, so shut up.
Oh, you're lucky you got blown at all. So we're going to go with news. So Lieutenant Commander, you got any news for us?
Aye, Captain. So this week we found out that IDW is doing a year-long comic event featuring the Mirror Universe, and they are calling it the Mirror War. So that's something to look forward to.
Oh, how cool is that? That's going to be collectible for a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be nice.
That's impressive.
But watch, it's going to be like, once every quarter they'll put out, so
it's good stuff, though.
They're only going to do four comics.
I've been impressed by the quality of the stuff I have seen. And I'm not an expert comic book guy, but coming from the not being an expert comic book guy, look at it. It looks pretty cool to me.
Yeah, and we're going to be able to see Mirror Universe Picard in this one. So that should be interesting.
Oh, wow. Because last time they had him dieseled and worked out with that little, with his arms and muscle shirt. So it's going to be pretty cool.
It's a
Do we
different
know
look
what
of Picard.
Do
Yeah,
we know
it
what the
is.
time frame of this mirror universe is? Is it
No,
like
they just
current
announced it,
Picard
I
or is it TNG
think.
Picard?
It's supposed to be TNG Picard.
Okay.
Okay, so a younger Picard.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. Hey, Patrick, you got any news for us?
I do. So apparently Kate Mulgrew was on a podcast the other day and they were talking about Star Trek Prodigy. And I guess she let slip some things that she shouldn't have let slip because, there is an NDA but the podcasters were like, should you be telling this to us? So
that's what, when I saw clips of that on the net, I'm like, should she be telling us this?
Mm-hmm. So the kids that you see in the Star Trek Prodigy one sheet, they're from an obscure prison planet and they steal a Starfleet vessel and they're somewhere in an unknown portion of the Delta Quadrant. And guess what? Janeway's a hologram.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, she's the emergency training hologram.
That sucks. I was
Yeah.
looking forward to like having Janeway.
Yeah,
Well,
so we don't
maybe-
get it full Janeway, we get half Janeway.
Well, maybe she'll have a holo emitter and she could go on away missions with him.
Holograms have it'll be interesting to see how advanced these holograms are because when you look at it from the Star Trek Picard show, the holograms are something else. So
The hologram won't be asking for coffee.
Maybe
There's
it will.
coffee in that nebula.
she may be powered by coffee.
Or maybe holograph coffee too.
Well, she'll be like, there's coffee in that cartoon hologram nebula.
Or maybe somebody will go up to her and go Tuvix and she'll yell back, triggered. So, who knows? So that
She'll be
would
like,
be
there are 4 copies.
interesting. Oh, seriously.
No, that's funny.
So that would be funny. And Rocky, you get any news for us?
So everyone's getting excited because things are popping up like this, even for Star Trek Discovery. There's a Twitter image that was tweeted out by one of the writers saying end of season 4. So they finished the writing on season 4
What?
of Discovery.
Outstanding.
And they're shooting it, and they're also letting it fly that it's official. Tig Notaro is back as Jet Reno.
Our favorite lesbian. Woo!
She's awesome.
She is very, very cool. I had a chance to see her this weekend. This is Crossing Fandoms on Army of the Dead, which is
Zack Snyder film.
Who did the Snyder cut of the Justice
League.
Boy, that guy was busy.
Yeah, so it was done. I liked it enough. The news I have is that coming up here, Star Trek's Kitty Swank, Armin Shimmerman, and Jonathan Frakes are going to be hosting Pancreatic Cancer Action's network Voices and Pancreatic Action Week in 2021, kicking off with Voices in Action. It's to honor the people we love and remember those who we've lost. And this really kind of touches me because I've lost my mom to pancreatic cancer. So it's nice to seeing that. Norm, with the events last month when they did it, they raised $63,000 towards the effort to aid families that were affected from that disease. It's going to be held this June, and you can see the actors leading a conversation filled with heartfelt stories from the PanCan ambassadors about who they advocate and why. So if you guys want to take a look at it, it's going to be held. It's going to be a virtual event. It's going to take place on June 14th at 5 p.m. That's Pacific Standard Time if you're on Earth. Registration is free. You hear that? That's the word the Ferengis hate, which we're going to be talking about them in the show. Free to all participants. So if you want to learn more, go ahead and register for Voices in Action virtual event. Visit thepancan.org. That's PANCAN.org. And I guess that's it for our news. If you want to know, we're going to have a guest next week. If you want to know who it is, if you're on Patreon, you already know. So you're in the know. And if you're not, wait, you're going to suffer. So,
No, go to the patreon.com/Starfleet Underground and go become a Patreon.
Now you told them how to do it.
You got to tell them how to do it.
We know how to do it.
Yeah, well,
No? Okay.
apparently Riker's going to write a book about that, about which aliens you can and cannot fuck. So there's that.
That would be
we do
that
it.
would be a multi-book novel, or what do you
There
call
you
it? An
go.
encyclopedia.
That's
It
for
would be
sure.
a Time Life collection of the month shit. You know, that lots of books,
Wouldn't that be written by Kirk?
the multiple novels,
Maybe it's going to be co-authored by Kirk.
contributing writer.
The forward by Kirk.
There you go.
You know, you can see where no one has gone before, the real story.
Alien Vaginas, Chapter 1.
Oh my God.
I always imagined that Kirk retired and was teaching sex ed at the university, Starfleet University.
Oh, that was gonna be so funny. Okay, let's go on because our show is gonna wind up being totally about that, and we could possibly totally do that one day. We'll do it after dark.
Pretty sure there's got to be a fan fiction site
Oh,
somewhere.
I have no
Oh,
doubt.
you know it.
I have no doubt. All right, Heather, you're up.
Hi, Captain. So this week's episode is Star Trek Enterprise Season 1, Episode 19, Acquisition. It first aired March 27th, 2002. Teaser, challenge accepted. A UFO arrives with aliens, and the Enterprise and the Vulcans have never seen it before. We don't understand what they're saying, but when the captain starts smiling like that, we know that anal probing is involved.
Whoa.
So we've got a plethora of guest stars on this episode.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You just start listening to them talk, even though it's in another language, like an alien language that you don't understand. You can hear who these actors are. It's amazing. You're like, oh, wait, that guy sounds like, who is it? It's that guy that, who's in that thing? Was it? I can't remember.
It's
what's that show?
Exactly.
I squealed because I don't remember me being conscious of who they were, but my second watch through now, and it's like, oh my God, all three of those, I know who they are.
Right.
So it was amazing. It was really cool.
Ulysses was played by Ethan Phillips, who we all know from Voyager as Neelix. And then Muck was played by Clint Howard, who everybody who is a Trekkie will know as Baylock from Star Trek, the original series, the Corbomite Maneuver.
Ooh. He was also in Discovery, Creepy Orion in Discovery, and he was in Deep Space Nine.
He's in everything.
And he was the only actor that has ever been in both the original series and Discovery, other than Leonard Nimoy, who was a fake hologram when that happened.
And then, of course, we've got Jeffrey Combs as Krem, who, I mean, Jeffrey's in every freaking thing Star Trek. So,
the range he has, though, it's amazing. The range he has, because it's totally, he's in the same show. I mean, he's another character in the same show. He's the Andorian, but he's got a different vibe to him as a Ferengi.
Totally opposite. I mean, he was a Creeper Krem, and he was totally different from his Andorian character. And may I say that I don't understand when a ship loses power, why is it doing donuts in space?
Right. Yeah, this was kind of the first opportunity we kind of have. We talk about how all the ships always meet up. Horizons is set the same; they're always level. Well, they come in, and the Enterprise is a little bit adrift. It's not unpowered. The power is still there, but it's adrift, and it's just kind of floating at a weird angle. So it's kind of you kind of joke about meeting up with a starship and you're upside down or sideways or something because nobody's flying straight and level. That kind of felt like the opening shot of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they're unconscious on the ship. Everyone's gotten stunned is what we're going to find out.
Now, I know that you love watching things in subtitles, dear Rocky. Did you have the subtitles on for this one when they were talking?
It only said, what did it say? I didn't write down the
Ferengi
subtitle.
speech.
Ferengi speaking or something like that, which is quite funny because you go through the Memory Alpha things. Some of the notes is they made a very big point not to actually say the name Ferengi. They didn't want to let us know that's officially because you're supposed to be officially revealing them in Next Generation. But everybody knows they were actually at Area 51, which is a whole nother funny thing.
Are they the aliens?
But but the subtitle people just put Ferengi right in there. It's like, oh, okay.
Are they the aliens that the government says that we've had contact with all this time?
Oh, there's a whole episode. It was such a good episode too. That was some funny stuff.
No wonder the price of gold has gone up.
Oh man.
And NASA says you can't fuck them, but I have a feeling you probably could if you wanted to.
Well, my thing is if you have foes are now like actually a real thing and everything, does that mean the anal probing was a real thing too?
It's possible they core out cows.
It's just how you take a temperature of an animal typically, right? They're just taking your temperature.
That's true. We do that to dogs. What do dogs think of us?
We do that to us too, if you didn't notice.
And babies.
Babies, they do anal temperature.
Yep. No wonder they cry all the time.
Now they got the little thing they can just point at you and get a temperature. But back before they had one of those invented, they had to stick a thing.
And here I thought the aliens were just enjoying it.
Well, he might enjoy it.
That too. You never know. It's like, what do you want to do tonight? Let's go stick something up on the alien's butt. You mean the Earthlings? Except for last week, we picked one up and he liked it. You're gonna send him back.
He keeps showing up. He's like, do me again.
Let's go tip some cows. I've seen the Earthlings do that.
I guess we could move on to the next
probably
section.
a good idea to move on. Otherwise, you're gonna
Yes.
talk about the rest of the show.
Hi, Captain. Okay. Oh, by the way, one more thing to say before we move on. So all of the headings for this, I got them off of the 800 liked post on Twitter. So everything as far as the headings go on this one, the theme is that Twitter post. Like I got all of these headings from that Twitter post. Okay, just wanted to say that real
So
quick.
you got a lot of head from Twitter?
And probably some probing.
And some pecking. It didn't feel very good. The beak, man. Okay, Act 1. How do we know if we don't try? The Ferengi space pirates hijack Enterprise and start looting the ship. The entire Enterprise crew has been knocked out, lying unconscious on the floor, and in the middle of stealing everything, they get their grubby little paws on T'Pol, who is passed out. And the Ferengi excitedly runs over and starts sexually assaulting her by giving her a Ferengi ear job. I'm guessing he has an ear fetish. Meanwhile, Trip has been forgotten about in the decon chamber, but he is enjoying it since, it's sort of like a mini vacation in there. After an hour or so, he realizes that something is wrong when no one responds to his calls. So he breaks out of the room wearing only his magic Starfleet underwear. Trip quickly realizes that everyone is unconscious and the Ferengi are ransacking the joint.
Now, I couldn't hear what you said about the Ferengi ears.
Well, they all have Ferengi ear fetishes. I mean, they all, those guys
That
like
was
ears.
supposed to be a joke. I can't hear about you said about the Ferengi ears.
I hear what
Okay.
you're saying.
The big
that went over.
ears.
That went over my ear
It's not as
too.
good as the eye thing. When we do the eye thing, it's so much funnier.
Patrick, after this episode, after we get done with this, please report to the emergency medical hologram. He's got to check to see if some frosting hit your brain or something, because normally you're made more wittier than that. So something actually happened. So we're going to check you out.
Your jokes are usually a bit warmer than that,
Yeah, it's usually me that bombs it.
I can't help that they were too cerebral for you guys.
They wouldn't fall cold like that. So
It was pretty icy response.
yeah. And did you notice that, with him running around in his underwear, they made sure that he didn't look like a Barbie doll?
That looked like magic underwear.
Yeah, it really
Is
was.
that what you call that kind of underwear?
Well,
Magic?
All I can say is Trip looked damn good.
So I had a feeling you'd pick up on that part. So,
Tidy blueies? Is that what that was?
It's Mormon underwear when it's like a shirt and pants and it's like all one and it's like this really one piece type of a thing. I
well,
guess
they weren't
like
tidy whities, so that's for certain.
I got to admit, though, 20 minutes you're supposed to be deconning, and then you're in there for an hour. Okay, when you hit 45 minutes, you should know something was up. I mean, you took the whole hour to figure out,
Unless he fell asleep.
I don't know. That didn't look that comfortable on the floor.
Wasn't it 30 minutes last time when him and T'Pol and
it was 30 minutes.
Well,
Yeah.
it was just
And Hoshi.
It was just him, so you get the full thing. You can go by yourself and get a little faster.
Oh, okay.
But after a while, he's like, okay, vacation time's over. I got shit to do. Let me out.
And he couldn't get the doors open, so he had to fucking hotwire them.
I thought he just had to go to the bathroom.
Well, it's a decon chamber. Just go in the corner. It won't be.
That's true.
No.
Dude, if I had to go to the bathroom like that, I might break out of there too.
You don't know. It probably doesn't even hit the floor by the time it comes out.
Give me a toilet. I need a toilet.
You never know. But then
Fucking
again,
men versus women. Men are just like, oh yeah, just go. You'll be fine. Just stand
whip
up
it out and go. You got to go.
Man,
they have a device on Amazon that they sell.
There's an
I know.
adapter.
I've seen it.
For women who they can
It's a
stand up and
funnel.
pee.
Yes,
they
it's
literally.
a funnel.
It's a fucking funnel.
You can use it on hikes, apparently, because
Yes.
I learned that by taking a hike with somebody. She's like, oh, I have one in my purse. Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
it's
good to know.
It's a suction cup with a funnel. So there you go. And then you shake it off like a guy would. Let it air dry a little and put it back
And
in.
stick it back in your pants.
Yes.
Well, I hope they would at least, I don't know, wash it or something. Like maybe.
I would think you at least keep it in a plastic baggie or something.
Yeah,
Or
I
what
would
if you
think
had
so.
like one of those wipes you brought with you and then wiped it out and then put it back in and then threw the wipe away, like in your trash bag or whatever.
There you go. As long as it's biodegradable wipes.
Yeah. Don't just throw your wipes out in the middle and anywhere. You know, you got to.
Yeah, you're going to have to wipe anyway. Even with the funnel, you're going to have to wipe anyway.
But you notice that the Ferengi was also aware of COVID because they came aboard the ship.
My first
wearing
note.
masks.
My first note was, ooh, more cosplay opportunities.
Yes, that's so perfect.
Yeah, everyone's bitching about, oh man, you're gonna go to the convention. It's too soon. We're gonna catch COVID. We gotta wear masks. That's perfect. You can cosplay with the mask on. That's great. Think of how many more photo ops you're gonna be able to get because of the mask.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to have a Ferengi head made it so that you can actually wear that mask so that it's so people will get the reference.
If people
That's a
are
good
determined enough to fuck aliens, they're determined enough to get a little Ferengi head.
You can always say you took it from when the Ferengis, they left it behind. So there's that. And can we say that again? It's like they're on the ship. They come across, everyone's passed out, face down in the food. They drop on the floor. And then they come over and they see T'Pol's ears. And it's like,
that one had points on it.
Oh.
Yeah, they have an eye for ears. It's just kind of the way they're bred, those guys.
Yeah,
They-
Krem was just hardcore creeping on T'Pol.
He was
I mean,
hard something.
I was like, I need a shower. I mean, he's just like,
cold shower.
it's like, ooh, gross.
You could practically see him pitch a tent right there.
Yeah, he was like, oh my God, they're pointy. You know this?
I'm surprised the wax didn't start dripping out his ears.
He's like,
It was really, really a creeper thing to see that he was like, and I got to give Jeffrey Combs, again, kudos to that, because you almost audibly heard him go,
he did. He did. He totally did that.
It's like,
I thought you did that because he saw Trip in the decon chamber in his underwear.
No, he was all about those ears.
The reason Trip's in the decon chamber is he got scabies again. fucking some
He
alien.
probably shook somebody's hand and got laid. I mean, come on.
Oh, man.
Never know.
You know what I was getting excited about? Because I'm such an engineer dork. They had those cool ass ramps to get around the doors, the doorways. I like that they had I don't know if those were the Ferengis or they belong on the Enterprise, but they just whipped those suckers out and put them down, and they could wheel stuff around all over the ship, not tripping over the doorways.
Yeah, that was interesting. I didn't notice that until you said it, but yeah.
They were handicapped enabled.
Exactly. Yeah, you could wheel chairs over that thing.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
When I saw this, and the very first thing I thought of was, so basically the Ferengi are the same people as the people in Las Vegas who go into your hotel room while you're sleeping and steal all of your shit. I never knew Ferengis were the ones that did that. Now I know who the thieves are.
I mean, they tried to steal everything from the ship except the kitchen sink.
Yeah, they were taking everything.
I love how they start taking stuff apart. That was so funny.
That's actually the next.
Yeah.
They took
next
Meriwether's
section.
console.
Yeah, that's
chair.
how-
That's
next
next
section.
section.
Yeah.
Next section.
They
But
were
you
checking
know-
out the pie on this one.
But
I actually mentioned that in the thing that the opening. I'm going to be saying kitchen sinks that you took.
Okay,
that from
then
me.
go ahead and go. Let's go on to the next. Let's go to the kitchen sink.
Before we go to the next section here, you got to remember when the Suliban was on and he was in sick bay and the Suliban was like in a corner somewhere and they found him. Tucker actually remembered that because he went up the ladder. Somebody's coming and he scales up the ladder.
Yeah, I love the way he was
Hides in
hanging
it.
down like
I
from the
know.
ceiling, from the ladder.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, that's pretty good maneuver right there.
And I know for a fact that he was probably mumbling to himself when they came in since he was upside down. Batman.
Well, I kind of felt like the eavesdropping in Die Hard. I thought he was going to rip out a pen and write down, okay, then one's Hans and one is Mook and one is, taking down the names of all the guys.
And then he gets out of there and he sees him. I mean, come on, how greedy you are. You're stealing a friggin' torpedo.
These guys go all out. These are great. They're not just ordinary pirates. They're fucking thieves.
No, they're the locusts of the space.
And their ship is like what? Maybe a fifth of what the Enterprise is, and they're like,
know.
we're taking everything.
It's a friggin'
That
Volkswagen.
Exactly. It's like he rolled up with a bug, like a Volkswagen Bug, to steal everything out of the damn starship.
Yeah. Yep, the Ferengi Bug.
I guess technically it would be a Volkswagen bus because they did have some storage space in there. But man,
this is true. Okay, next section.
Aye, Captain. Act 2. Life finds a way. The Ferengi are stealing everything on the ship, including the kitchen sink and the females. In fact, their greed gets the best of them, provoking them into waking up the captain, demanding to know where the vault is kept. At first, he's confused, but when Archer hears the words Vulcan and slave market, he remarkably remembers where the vault is, and he tells them that he will tell them this for 35% of the gold. The Ferengis bitch slap him and instead put him to work loading their spaceship while they go look for that vault. During his manual labor, Archer spots Trip hiding and requests some food and water from the mess hall. His jailer suddenly becomes his waiter and leaves him alone long enough that Trip and Archer can formulate a plan. Everything that may be helpful has been looted, but Trip could steal the hypo spray that they used on Archer in order to wake up T'Pol. Once T'Pol is woke, she sees Trip in his underwear, is sexually assaulted by a Ferengi, and hears some nasty gossip about herself from her boss, forcing her to immediately file a report with HR.
I was gonna say this one's in the files of HR. They have this down in the history books.
Oh my God.
She had him on
HR.
a tight beam.
Yeah, totally.
Did you guys notice that T'Pol actually the first time creeped on Tucker?
She
He
was
in his
looking.
underwear.
Yeah,
She actually, you saw her eyes look down in his crotch and look back up at him.
He could hear her eye roll because he wasn't looking at her when he's like, "Oh, what? Oh, I'm in my underwear," and you think the worst. He didn't notice she was staring. He heard
Just
it.
because the guy's in his underwear, you automatically think the worst.
Well, when it's Trip, I mean, come on.
Well, he wasn't self-conscious enough to turn around and goes, "What? It's cold."
I mean, yeah, I did look a little suspicious. All of the women are there, and the only thing worse could have happened was they could have been in their underwear. Then we'd seriously have a problem.
Well, I mean, shit, they were going to sell them as sex slaves anyway.
Oh yeah, you got a point.
Yeah, it's like all those extra clothes. What do we need those for? Just get rid of them.
I was imagining T'Pol sitting there asking, like, for sex slave tip advice from Princess Leia. Like, okay, how do you get the collar? What do you do?
You just pull that chain.
You kiss your brother.
But Heather, you should have got a kick out of how they started to try to get the translator to work. It's like every time that he said something, they would like jump backwards and then look at it. It's like he was scared he was going to leap out and smack him.
That was awesome. They wake him up and they jump back like they just turned on the biggest bomb in the world.
I know.
That was so funny.
It's like, what does this switch do? And you don't know it turns on the garbage disposal and everyone jumps.
That was all. These actors are having so much fun.
Yeah.
That's all four of these actors are wonderful, and you put them all together in this one scene, and that's what it's so comical fun. I did love this episode just because of that stuff.
Yeah, it was like they reacted to Archer basically like he was an animal that was going to bite them, but they didn't react like that to the dog, Porthos, later on, you know?
Well, they thought he was food, so.
No, they thought he was like a god with those huge ears. It's like a beetle ears. These are huge.
That's why they took him. And did they put him in the box in this scene?
They put him in the box.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's next section.
What's in the box?
It's Porthos.
Yeah. But I liked how Archer recognizes the situation and decides as a delaying tactic to play on their greed.
Oh, he goes for it. He says,
time.
I'll tell you what, I got a vault. I got the gold. I'll do half 50-50 with you. You take half, I take half. And then they start bargaining with 35. And I was like, nope, no deal.
And then they bitch slap him.
Yeah, they just slap his ass. Like, nope, you're going to carry our shit. That's your shit.
Yeah,
but it's our shit now.
We're going to go look for it.
We're going to go find your vault.
It was a psychological warfare that he was able to start doing, because you see Archer's is trying to decide the hierarchy and what he can do to get them going.
To play them against each other.
Yeah,
Well, he's learning that he can
cool.
use the cartoon sense of humor to get an edge on the Jeffrey Combs guy.
Yeah, because he was really manipulative.
Hand him an Acme anvil.
Exactly. That's practically, he had to walk around with a damn anvil while carrying half the ship all around.
But later on, he was a little more manipulative with one of the Ferengi. Next section, but
I'd like we started learning about the Ferengi rules of acquisition.
That was funny.
There are 173 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a book.
You got a book?
A book on all of acquisition, rules of acquisition.
No way.
Yeah. When you come captain, it's required reading.
So do you know all 285 by heart?
I did not memorize all of them, no.
Wait a minute, they said there were 173.
Well, at this point in time, there's
because of
173.
Enterprise.
Yeah. In DS9, there's more. They added more.
Right.
Okay.
So the 4 that they named reference this episode. Can you tell me what number 6 is?
It is you never allow family to stand in the way of profit.
That's true.
Okay.
So
and
fuck you, family.
what number is expand or die?
That would be number 45.
Yes. On a roll.
Yeah, that's like my waistline at this point in the COVID pandemic.
That means you're going to live forever. Oh, sorry. That was actually a little too funny.
Stupid.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, boy.
But it was really cool that, he does the thing like Patrick said. And it's like, I'm thirsty. Could you go get me something? And like Heather in the beginning, it's like he turns into a waiter.
Yeah.
And then Tucker comes over and it's like, dude, I mean, what the hell? I woke up and all of these little critters with big ears are on the ship. And it's like, you got to go do something. It's like, well, where's the phaser? No phaser. Hypo spray.
Mm-hmm. There's only one left and you have to get it.
There's only one dose of the COVID vaccine. You got to give it to DePaul.
Yeah.
Wait, this sounds like one of these video games that didn't get that popular. They kept handcuffing Archer to the wall everywhere, to the doorways even. I mean, just the handles on the wall. I thought that was kind of funny. And he's going to go get him a sandwich. I'm like...
And then on the way back, Krem is eating the sandwich.
Yeah, that was funny. that was some funny shit. And and I think the next thing I thought was funny happened to sickbay in the next act.
I'm really surprised that he was able to find any food at all because they raided the refrigerator. They threw all the food in a bag. They didn't even put it in Tupperware. They just threw it all in a bag.
They threw 2 slices of pie in a bag.
They ate like I do. I mean, they looked at the salad and looked at it and like, ew, put it back. And they picked up the pie and like, ooh, I'm going to take some of this and some of that. Yeah, that's what
And a
do.
second helping.
Yeah.
Well, they were actually practicing rules of acquisition number 10, which is greed is internal. So they were actually grabbing everything.
But see, that was their, I mean, if you think about it from the beginning of the episode, their downfall is their greed. I mean, it's because the suspicion that comes with being greedy and having to share something with other people who are greedy. I mean, there's inherently going to be distrust.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But that custom chair at the helm, that looked really useful.
So they had to take that.
Oh, my God, they're ripping shit out by the roots. They were taking stuff. Oh, my God. They're still in the chairs. I'm surprised we didn't see them walk by with the toilet.
Where did they get a ratchet wrench on the Enterprise
I was thinking that.
unscrew that fucker, man?
I was so thinking that.
I'm just surprised they weren't unscrewing light bulbs everywhere, too, and putting those in a box.
They were taking everything. Wouldn't surprise if they started to strip the crew and take all the uniforms. And it was like, we're going to make a fortune at the flea market.
Yeah.
But Tucker gets the hyper spray, and the first person he goes to wake up is the hyper spray. Rather than wake up.
Hypo spray. Not hyper spray.
Before he gets the thing to wake the crew up, the first person he goes for is not Reed, who is supposed to be the ship's armor. Yeah. It's DePaul. He doesn't go wake up Reed, who's supposed to be like the weapons expert. He goes for DePaul.
Seriously.
Well, because she knows she's cold and logical. She won't freak out, and she'll think this through logically and find a way to get them out of it.
Well, by rank.
And I quote from DePaul, "There are so many times I wish the Vulcans hadn't learned how to repress their violent tendencies." Oh my fucking God. I was laughing my ass off.
Oh yeah, she had some good lines. It was poor DePaul though. She's kind of a bargaining chip.
I don't blame her after all that shit she went through. She was sexually assaulted. Her fucking boss is saying like how horrible she is. She sees stripping her underwear. I'd be fucking pissed too.
But you know what was funny is because Archer's saying those things so that he won't want to take her with him, and then DePaul throws it.
I understand, but DePaul
throws it in his face later, and it's like it's such comic comedy for a Vulcan. I mean, she's totally yanking his chain.
She is the funniest Vulcan, I think. I mean,
I love her.
She's hysterical.
Spock had some moments, but he had some moments with Bones and Kirk. I mean, he had to have the triumphant threesome right there. But T'Pol has only got Archer to work with. But she's so funny.
I love
Yeah,
T'Pol.
she's like whatever he had said. She repeats back to him, and he's like, I was just kidding,
HR.
It was a total HR moment because now she's conscious when he comes to fondle her ear.
Oh,
She's got to pretend that she's knocked out.
Yeah, double fondlage.
And he's
Again.
it's like, come on, no, don't mess with him. She's nothing. She's not interesting. It's like, I still want her.
And she's like, I wish I could have punched him out.
Oh my God. Could you have stayed like that, knowing that if you move, you're going to get killed, to let somebody willfully fondle you and you get to
Dude,
pretend?
I'd have a hard time.
And your ear, close your eyes and have somebody walk in the room and touch your ear when you're not expecting it. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, she had to use her Vulcan meditation not to shiver.
Well, if their ear's the only thing that they're touching, then you're good. You're good. I mean, they could be touching a lot
if they touch
worse.
something else, you're gonna file HR for sure.
Those are different aliens.
No, that's true. That's the Orions.
That's the thing about the Ferengi is they're not into antenna or appendages. They're into ears.
Yeah, they're into ears and
And your pocketbook.
And that's why they make all their females on their planet naked, except for Moogie. So
I thought Moogie was naked too.
No, she was, but when she's on the ship, she wore clothes and caused Quark and everybody to be scandalized because she had clothes on.
Talk about being woke. Moogie was woke.
No, she was. And she was the
Moogie was
brain.
awesome.
Yeah, no, Moogie's cool.
So, but yeah, and then, you know.
But I'm sorry. I don't, even if I were straight, I wouldn't want to see saggy alien titties. I mean, those things had more folds in them than a book. I mean, it was, Moogie. He's a plastic surgeon.
I could say something right now, but I won't because we already threw you out the airlock and I don't want to add insult to injury. So I'm going to leave that alone.
Are you talking about your face? And all the
No, I'm
folds in
talking
it?
about. See, now I was going to leave that alone, but I'm talking. You don't want to see him because you see him in the mirror every day when you get dressed. So there, you pushed me. You pushed me there.
Your moobs are bigger than mine, so shut up.
Please. At least mine's dispensed chocolate milks. What's your excuse?
I don't think that's how that works, sir.
Mine's protein drinks.
Please.
I don't think that's how that works either, sir.
I am never taking a protein drink from Patrick ever fucking again.
No, he milks them at night before we go on the convention floor.
It was a kind of, you gave me the milk the other day. It was a little bit warmer than I was expecting.
Oh my God,
No, when you end up pregnant, don't come knocking at my door.
So that answers the question that Robert De Niro had in The Falkers. I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me?
Oh my.
So we're
We
going
should probably move on.
Yes, let's go to the next
Let's go to
section.
the next
We're
section.
milking this for all it's worth.
Oh my God.
And it's going to get sour in a minute.
Yeah, we're going to run out
Captain.
of things and there'll be a pregnant pause.
Act 3. Not with that attitude, you won't. Trip makes a detour to go put on some clothes, and while the Ferengis are desperately trying to open an MRI machine in sickbay, sure that it is the Vault. When they don't find anything, they decide to search the captain's quarters instead. Just then, T'Pol sets off the fire alarm, causing massive discomfort to large globed individuals. This distraction allows T'Pol to frame one of the Ferengi while stealing a scanner undetected. Meanwhile, the Ferengi finally find the captain's quarters, but they don't find the vault. Interrogating Porthos was a bust since he didn't speak their language, but those beagle ears made him worthy of stealing. As he's putting the pup in the cargo container, Trip is seen and the chase begins. The Ferengi finally corner Trip in the mess hall and literally whip his ass with an electric whip.
So this just goes to show you how much these Ferengi may be family, but how much they distrust each other. So when T'Pol frames Euless for stealing Mook's scanners. Mook says, "You'd steal the wax out of your own mother's ears." Like, that's a huge insult.
They don't, they're not the kind, funny, happy little go-lucky family. They are at each other's necks all the time.
They are looking over their shoulder because they know that, you turn around and he's going to steal you blind.
It just lets us know also just how well-adjusted Quark and his family really were.
Yeah.
Because these guys were like really, really bad. And then we get Tucker. I don't know who came up with the idea because I don't remember him talking to Archer. So I think what happened is he had to get together with T'Pol and come up with a tactic that we didn't see, because he gets a security lock and he puts it on the shit converter door, the biomatter resequencer.
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
It was like a little mini warp drive looking thing, but that was something.
Yeah, it says biomatter converter.
Yeah.
On the door. So obviously they had some sort of plan that we didn't know, especially with her with that little evil Vulcan grin when she put the door alarm in there, like, freaking out with their ears.
That was so awesome. And I just have to say, that's how I handled my fire alarms, is I just shoot my phaser at it as well.
I love that he didn't just shoot it once, he shot it again. Exactly. He made sure that fucker wasn't going to make any more noise.
And then he smiled after he shot it again. It's like,
I love that was one of my favorite moments of the episode, actually, because I wasn't expecting it. It's just such great violence against machinery.
I want to know where because Euless goes all dominatrix on Trip. I want to know where he got that electric whip.
They were pretty accurate too. I was looking at it going, well, that phaser shot, because he got shot out with the phaser and it hit the door panel, but it was very close. I mean, that was really close for a phaser blast. And then he walks out and he gets hit with the whip. But I thought it was a phaser shot at first. I'm like, damn, these guys are accurate as hell. But I'm like, it was a whip.
They're not stormtroopers.
It was a whip. It was the laser whip. And that was spicy, wasn't it?
That could be fun in a dungeon.
Right? When they're in the mess hall and he's sitting there waiting for them to come in and he has his head down like he's like trying to, blend in and shit. I thought he was going to take one of the forks and like jump up and stab him or something in the eye.
He didn't even need a fork. He just fucking bit him right in the ear.
Yeah.
That was like getting bitten in the balls or something.
When you bite someone in the Oo-Mox.
Oh, man.
Someone got bit in the episode and Porthos had nothing to do with it.
Right. Oh, man.
Because that's where they get their pleasures with the Oo-Mox. So
it was the pleasure center, yeah.
No teeth. What are you doing?
So you got to wonder, did he have an orgasm as he passed out?
It's like no teeth.
I guess it depends if he's a sadomasochist or not.
That's you only do biting right at the moment of orgasm because oh man, yikes.
And you wanted to talk about this part when we got here, Heather, about Porthos and his big ears, and now they automatically assumed that means he was in charge.
This was actually the captain of the ship. Look at his ears.
He has the biggest ears on this ship. He must be the captain.
That was hysterical. And he's like, well, he's a lower life form, but we're going to take him anyway.
And they put him in a box. Oh, man.
I felt so bad because
what's in the box?
The dog's tail's in between his legs. He's shaking. He does not look comfortable at all. And I'm like,
those cargo boxes are actually pretty cushy on the inside, so he probably wasn't so bad. But the air supply. Yeah. So because you gotta, when you seal cargo up in space, got to be airtight, right? So yeah, I was really worried about Porthos.
I was like, oh no,
animal control.
It was like they're gonna put him in there and he's gonna be dead by the time they get to where they wanted to go.
Seriously?
I was like, oh wow, that upset me more.
Right? Yeah, like oh my god.
So when they get to where they're going and they open the box and Porthos is dead, the Ferengi is like, what happened was?
Damn.
Oh, either that or they scared him shitless and they open up the box and they're like, what the smell?
No, it wasn't shitless. It wasn't shitless in that box when they opened it back up.
Well, Porthos was shitless after all that.
There you go. Man, poor doggy. Did you notice the voyeurism they can do in engineering?
Yeah, and the sick bay.
Oh, the screens. They got screens. They can look at everything. That ship was a walking reality TV show.
Yeah.
Or a Las Vegas casino.
Man, Trip could see everything. He could, hear everything. It was a great way to take advantage of your attacker
mates.
Yeah.
Eye in the sky.
Let alone your crewmates.
That's where they get this stuff for Pornhub materials.
I guess towards the end of this section here, when they all run after Tucker, I was thinking, why did he allow himself to get caught? I still wasn't getting the full idea yet. That's some sort of...
They had that setup.
Yeah.
They were performing a Shakespearean play, The Captain and Trip.
Oh, yeah. I still think they should have woken Reed up, but there's that.
Yeah.
I love that we were talking about them running through the corridor. They were jumping over the extras. I thought that was pretty cool. How would you like to be an extra? And okay, Clint Howard's just going to run right over you. Just jump right over. And imagine we have to do a couple takes to get it right. So hopefully he doesn't trip on you.
Oh, you don't know how many times they did.
I got stepped on by Baylock.
Exactly.
Seriously. He was looking for Tranya. Next section.
Hi, Captain. Act 4. Alien life may not be fuckable. The Ferengi bring...
What the hell you say?
The fuck you say?
The Ferengi bring Trip back so he can help move the boxes, but as soon as they start loading up the women, Trip freaks out and promises to show him where the vault is if he leaves the chicks alone. They happily accept and follow Trip out to the room. T'Pol goes to help Trip, but bumps into a Ferengi in the hall. After suggesting that she get on her knees and give him Oo-Mox, T'Pol Vulcan pinches his ass and finishes helping Trip disarm the other Ferengis. Now that the Enterprise crew is back in charge, they enforce some sweet justice. The Ferengi are forced to move all of those boxes back to where they belong, and when all is finished, most all of the Ferengi are handcuffed and returned to their ship, and the only Ferengi that is left free is the Outcast, which is put in charge of everyone. And the ship is detached from the Enterprise and disappears into the night.
Now, wait a minute. If you're getting Oo-Mox, wouldn't you be the one that was on the knees? Wouldn't you want to be on your knees?
Well, I was thinking blowjob.
I mean, he ended up on his knees. I mean, she nerve pinched the fucker, and he's like right in the middle of it. He's like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah, but you know, T'Pol was like low shade bragging when he's like, "Oh, do you know any?" It's like, "I am well versed in multiple techniques." It's like,
She knew the arts of pleasure.
Yeah, so he was like, "Oh my God, yes!" And he did that creepy little.
He did.
So it was like, wow,
you would make a handsome wife. Oh,
it was.
I need a shower just talking about this.
No wonder why he's single. I mean, this is why creepers are single.
Oh, you got a point. You got a really good point.
He was still in his mother's basement.
Well, I mean, they do keep it in the family, right? It's more affordable that way if you live in your mother's basement.
According to Memory Alpha, seen in the future, that Ferengi, the one that was really like ready to receive Oo-Mox from T'Pol, Krem.
Do you tell me he cremmed when he got his ears?
Oh my God, that was bad.
He was the creme de la creme.
The de la creme. He was the one that was possibly the author of the original Vulcan love slave novel that was in DS9. So the DS9 novel, The Gray Spirit, claims that Krem was the one that was the author of the original Vulcan love slave novel.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
He was very inspired.
I didn't know that.
He had dreams.
Yeah, but you noticed how he
cremmed his pants.
The behind the scenes planning I thought was really good, because you see how mad Tucker got when he's like, "No, she's my wife." It's like, she's worthless.
So
and they start with the big fight back and
I'll
forth.
give you 5 bars. I'll give you 10. Come on.
She's worth more than that. I'm going to send you to the bridge. Don't you dare tell them when the vault is. I'm going to tell them anyway because I want my wife. You know, that type of thing. So that was pretty wild.
Very chivalrous. Very, very chivalrous right there.
Later on in the mess hall, when T'Pol and Hoshi are grabbing a drink, T'Pol's like, "Well, guess what I heard?"
That would be funny. That would be funny. Oh my goodness. You know, so it was definitely a planning going on, but we as the audience wasn't let in on how they came up with the plan.
Yeah, it's more fun that way to see it just revealed. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. It was
very
but
it's
cool.
like, I mean, if you're paying attention, you're like, the minute they started going, Archer and Tucker started going back and forth about, fighting over the gold and women, I was like, okay, they're up to something. They're planning something here. This is not just.
I mean, it was a shade of wabbit season, duck season.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you showed the greed again, because because, Tucker's like taking him the scenic route to get to where supposedly the vault is.
There are some good lines in there.
We've been this way before. No.
Are you trying to walk us to death? I mean, hello.
That was pretty. And then they get to, obviously, it's a lock. You can see it looks really secure, and it looks like it's a big lock, but it's a portable thing like they had on what you call's room.
Yeah, on Daniel's
room, So
good thing they didn't get in there. There must be some really cool shit to steal out of Daniel's room.
Yeah, no doubt. And then again, the greed kicks in. It's like, I'll go first to check for traps. No. You'll fill your bags with gold. No, you.
Do you think Trip planned that? Did he like fish him into that, or did they just naturally act that way?
I think that was all part of their plan, because Archer had figured out the greed angle. So then to use it between them to separate them. So I think between him and Trip, they planned that out.
Yeah, it was pretty slick though, because they just charged right on in there and got stunned.
Well, that was pretty cool because they all basically fought themselves to get into the room. And then the most horrible line of the whole show. Sorry, fellas, bank must be closed today.
That was so
bad.
It was horrible.
That was so bad.
That was the worst line of the whole thing. I mean, come on.
But they get stunned, and also they wind up having shit steam all over themselves. And they fall down. It's like, oh, come on. But they were really greedy. They forgot that rules of acquisition number 19, satisfaction is not guaranteed.
Exactly.
Nice.
So it wasn't.
Especially when you get nerve pinched in the middle of Oo-Mox.
Right.
I know. Oh my God. But that was funny. And I loved the whole thread of this. Is with Archer actually kind of building up Krem the whole time. It's like
he did. He actually was like, you see a moment where he's like, oh, you could take over, and takes the initiative, and he looks like he's going to do it. He's going to take initiative. He's going to take over. You're kind of rooting for him, and then he goes like, nope. Go clean up the rest. Go get the rest of the stuff.
He's
like,
like, yes, cousin.
Go back to work. I'm like, oh.
But we get the result at the end though.
Yeah. At the end, it turns out he puts him in charge. Like, okay, cool.
Well, it's funny too, because when he does that, Archer totally manipulates him, and he fakes an injury during work so that way the other guy could do the work. But it's so funny because I'm thinking workers' comp. Now he has to be tested for drugs.
Oh, seriously. It's like it's an old water polo injury. Oh.
For some reason I'm like, did Archer play water polo?
Yeah, that was his sport. I think that was the first time it was mentioned. Although no, he mentioned it earlier that when I think we were talking about it when Reed walked in the room and they're talking about.
Yeah, but that was a bullshit injury. That wasn't like a real injury.
Oh yeah, but he is into water polo.
Okay.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember because I'm like, wait a minute, did he play water polo?
It wasn't Cisco. Okay. Cisco was baseball.
That fell flat.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
There you go.
I apologize.
That one. It's okay.
Your chill is rubbing off over here.
Airlock. Rocky out the airlock. Let me hit the button.
I have an override.
We have a fall flat at least one episode, like at least once per episode.
Well, we've hit our max today.
You're welcome.
We hit our quota.
No more of that.
It's usually me.
But he finally believes in himself. It's like, if you believe in life after love, he gets it, and they have him, and then they also.
Did you just sing Cher?
Yeah.
Did you just sing Cher? Okay.
She's still alive. God damn it.
What does that mean?
No, she's still alive. It's 2159. She's still alive.
In this time era, Cher is still with us. That's awesome.
She's just a brain hooked up to a computer.
but she can sing with the auto tune.
But she can sing.
Cher, like the cockroaches, will be around after the nuclear explosions.
Oh man.
Little known fact: Cher is the first person to ever get a golem. Details at 11.
What?
The golems were made especially for Cher.
That explains a great many things.
And why she looks so fucking damn good at sweats. What is she, 79? I don't know.
The first word she says when she evolved, when she came out of the frozen chamber that they put people in, when they freeze everyone, they defrosted her and then they put her into a golem, and she's like, I knew that was worth it. So
the first thing she said is, I snapped out of it.
You know?
I thought she said,
Oh my
if
God,
I can
yeah,
turn
really.
back time.
Oh my gosh.
Snap out of it.
No, but I love how as soon as Krem got power, they all started to kiss his ass.
Hey, I got that pen, that really
I'll give
fancy
you my
pen.
Latinum pen. My Latinum pen.
That you always wanted. I'll give
how
you
about,
that.
How about my beetle snuff collection? You like beetle snuff?
Makes me sneeze.
It's like, wow.
I was just waiting for one of them to be like, Oo-Mox, I could do that.
I mean, after the bullying female didn't work, that was probably the next step. It's all right, I'll give you Oo-Mox like in the
Right,
dark.
if he closes his eyes.
Do Ferengi male Oo-Mox each other?
They never
might.
touched that. They
No,
probably
never seen it happen.
I don't see why
No.
they wouldn't.
that's a deep thought.
I
Research
mean,
that.
I mean, let's ask NASA what they think.
Yeah,
Alien life
aliens
is
may
not
not be fuckable. But you're not really having intercourse when you're Oo-Moxing.
Right. It's just like, it's just a hands-on approach.
You
It's a
could
hand
say the
job.
same thing about a blowjob. Well, yeah, hand job.
Okay.
Okay, there's the
we-
next flat one.
Yeah.
No, you don't want to do a flat one.
No.
Yeah. we went off all over the place here. But first, I have to ask this, Heather. On the Heather scale, what would you give this episode?
There wasn't too much of Archer, which was awesome. I loved T'Pol. The Ferengi were funny. I would say, but then again, the whole sex stuff wasn't cool. 6.5.
Ooh, I thought we were going to get a 7 out of that.
I was really thinking that too.
6.5. Well,
It's average.
Point
Which is the
5.
size, which is the size of a normal human male.
Yeah, that's average.
There you go. Yeah.
It's nothing to be embarrassed about.
with one
Speak for
being the
yourself.
worst and 10 being the best.
If you're good at what you can do, you can do a good job with it if you know what you're doing. So,
Size doesn't matter. It's the technique.
oh, we're talking about size.
Mhm. Lies. It's all lies.
Did you guys see the when they're in sick bay and he pulls out that crazy looking long extendo thing and then he touches it to the tip of his tongue? What the hell was it? Do you know where that was been? You just don't put things in medical bay in your
That's
tongue.
the anal probe.
Oh my god! Oh
That's
my
the anal
god!
probe.
It's so
I wonder if that was improvised because it was fucking hilarious.
it's like it's so well crafted. Look at the craftsmanship.
I wonder what it tastes like.
I don't want to know.
But
Tastes like ass, but it's pretty cool, isn't it?
It's like having a kid that gets one of those dino head grabbers and they walk around the house picking up everything they can with a little grabber. And he had this grabber thing. He didn't know what it does. It just said, it looks cool, so I want it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all it needs.
and that's where we get aliens probing humans from.
Because it all started with that thing that he found. They sold it to the Greys and they've been using it ever since.
They've been using it on us. Oh no!
Oh, okay. Patrick, what's happening next week?
Oh, well, let me think here. Shoot. A little slow on the draw today.
I know. We got to. You definitely got to go to medical after this.
You're a little frozy. You're a little cold. He's got to warm up.
That doesn't, no. Being pushed out of an airlock does not give you an excuse to lack on your work. HR will talk to you about this.
You're gonna get
While we're waiting for
you're gonna
Patrick
get a memo.
And I'll tell HR that you shoved me out an airlock.
we brought you back. Hush up.
Technically, nobody was shoved out an airlock.
You're still alive.
Little trivia while Patrick is getting his next week together. Porthos was played by Prada. Prada is the name of the dog who plays Porthos.
Oh.
So next week is Star Trek Enterprise Season 1, Episode 20, Oasis. The crew of the Enterprise searches for a seemingly abandoned ship on a desert planet.
A desert planet with like ice cream and candy canes and.
Are they in the
dessert?
desert with no name?
No, that's a horse.
With a horse with no name?
No, I think this is the one where they find the ship and there's a garden and then there's a girl.
I just have that song stuck in my head, The Horse with No Name now.
Yep.
Been through the
With the
desert
horse
on a
with no
horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. Na da 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 da.
Da, 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 da.
By now, I'm sure we've lost all of our listeners.
Thanks
for listening.
One of them.
They're like our eardrums.
Thanks, everybody, for being on board and listening to us.
Guess who's the guest star in next week's episode?
Ooh.
Odo.
What?
Renee.
Oh, wow.
Renee. So that's going to be awesome. Rest his soul. He's such a wonderful guy. Thanks, everybody, for coming on board. Announcement for the crew. Heather's celebration party will be in the cafeteria right after this podcast.
It's called the mess hall.
Crew members, please report
It's called
there.
the mess hall.
The mess hall. Yeah, well, it's going to be a mess after we get done.
I want a birthday cake, but I don't want to be a birthday cake.
Yeah, okay. Dots, go ahead and
Ew.
set up the room for us. We're going to be there in about 10 or 15 minutes after Patrick gets probed. Okay. Thanks, everyone, for joining in. If you want to find out about our guests for next week, again, join our Patreon. You'll find out who it is, and we look forward to having you. Thank you for listening. If you're here for our premiere, which usually takes place on a Monday, unless something happens, we get attacked by the Borg or there's a mishap in
Oh no, I'm
engineering.
a cake.
Or
Everyone's
something.
going to eat me.
Or you get probed by Muck.
I think the cake is a lie.
Yes, it is. Wait, the cake says, I'm different. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Make sure you follow us. We're on starfleetunderground.com. You can get all our show notes and links to everybody else who's been on the show. You can see our past guests, as well as our other interviews.
You
Yes,
were
go
on
ahead.
the Yum Yum. It's officially out. The Yum Yum podcast is out now. The one where you guys are on it.
Oh, so you can get a chance to hear that. However, you will not hear Patrick's chair explosion, which happened. We managed to bribe them to keep that from happening because, he had gas and it wasn't. But thanks, everybody, for joining us. Please make sure you just don't have a great week, but make it so.
And if you can, support the show by going to patreon.com/Starfleet Underground. Lots of perks to choose from, and you might even like some of them. Starfleet Underground, beaming into a podcast feed near you. Log on to our website at starfleetunderground.com and send your comments and questions to thecollective@starfleetunderground.com. Follow us on Twitter at StarfleetUnderG and on Facebook and Instagram, we're Starfleet Underground.